Hello friends and welcome to another Make It Monday Facebook Live. Let me refresh my page and make sure we're actually up and running. Trying a new camera setup tonight, so want to make sure that everything is working as it should. And there we are. Oh, and not too bad. So welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight. Today is Monday, October 28th, 2024. And I am Jamie Sales, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Coming to you tonight with a fun fold. It's been a while since we've done a fun fold, I feel like. The last couple weeks, maybe a few weeks, I've done cards a little more on the simpler side. So I thought it was time to get a fun fold in. So that's what I have for you tonight, coming up here in just a minute. But first, let me ask you to please say hello, whether you're watching live or the replay. It's always nice to know who's here with me. And also, a couple bits of business going on in the Stampin' Up! World. This is the last week of October. So that means that our kit sale is ending. All of the kits in our online kit collection are currently on sale through the end of the month. Also, the join offer, where you can join my team, get a discount on any future orders, and the special rate going this month gets you an extra $30 in product. That ends at the end of this month as well. Next week, there's a new batch of online exclusives that will be available. You'll be able to see those on November 5th. If you were to join the team, though, you can look at and buy those things now. That's one of the perks of being a demonstrator. Also coming up in my own personal calendar, I have Kit Night this week on Friday. Kit Night is always on the 1st of the month. So you're welcome to bring any Stampin' Up! Kit, Paper Pumpkin, an online kit, or one of my to-go kits that I offer. And just work in the company of friends. I'll have some alternate ideas for the current Paper Pumpkin kit that are going to be available to inspire you. So that's this Friday. And then this Saturday, November 2nd, I will be participating in a holiday market at Chesterton High School. So if you're from Northwest Indiana and you want to stop by Chesterton High School on Saturday, I would love to see you there. That's all my bits of business, except I see some eyeballs on me now. Let's see. Hi, Kim. Thanks for being here. And Janine and Emily, thank you. It's nice to see you ladies watching as well. Emily, thanks for sharing. That's my final thing, and then we'll get going on our fun fold for tonight. The final thing is to give away one of the cards that I created last week. So let me adjust the camera and we'll get going. As I mentioned, I've got kind of a different camera setup tonight, so bear with me just a moment while I try and make sure that we're on screen. Here are the cards that I did last week. We're going to rotate the camera, so here comes a spin. These cards both featured a stamp set that's going to be in the new online exclusive batch next week, called Perfect Pairs. And I had a list of, where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people told me last week that they shared the video. So there's a 6. I've only got 5 people. So their names are on this list. And number 5, Emily, congratulations. Emily, that's 2 weeks in a row. And perfect, because I hadn't mailed your little mini cards yet from last week. So I'll stick those all together and get that in the mail to you. But sharing a video is a way that my name gets out there and I get seen by more people. And so in appreciation, we'll give one of those cards away. Okay. Hi, Angie. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you made it. All right, so this is one of the stamp sets in our holiday mini catalog. It's called Snowy Wonder. This is what I'm going to work with tonight. And it's a part of a suite. So there is designer series paper. Let me show you that real quick. There are dies, there's ribbon. Okay, this is the paper pack. It's called Snowy Scenes, I believe. We'll see it when I get to the bottom. But we've got some snowflakes, some more snowflakes, some houses. Love this print. Some holiday stripes, some snowmen, and there is a die that will cut out the snowman without the hat. Some pink trees. Yes, it's called Snowy Seams. And then if I flip them over, we've got penguins, we've got plaid, holly, candy canes, and then these big snow globes. So there are, I mentioned that it's part of a suite. There are a set of dies in here that will cut out. There's a die for every image that you can stamp, except for this little snowflake dots and not the sentiments. But all of these images have a die that will cut them out. And there is also this base, which could cut out the base of the printed paper. There is the round top of a snow globe that would cut that out. And then there is the arched top of the snow globe, which you could use to cut that one out. This one doesn't fit perfectly, but you don't lose anything at the top by using the die. So you could cut these out of the designer series paper or use them to create your, now I need to figure out where they were, to create your own snow globes with images that you stamp. So that's not what I'm doing tonight though, but that is something that you could create with those. Also, there are, hang on, there's also this tree, cuts out like that. And then there is a detailed snowflake here. And then these two that would cut very small, thin snowflakes that you could use to make a shaker card. Or you could cut I put the die here and here and here. There are two of them. But die cut out of the white, sorry, I'm not on camera. Die cut out of the white layer and let the pink shine from the layer underneath. So I created those snowflakes using that little die. And then the last piece of designer series paper is this one with the smaller snow globes. So you can use that, any portion of this, just as designer series paper, or fussy cut them out. There's not a die for those. So tonight I did some fussy cutting, and I selected those three images, which we're going to use here in just a moment. So let's get making the project. You're very welcome, Emily. All right, so what you need tonight, or what I used, is a piece of basic white thick, 8.5 by 5.5. I see shadows here. Excuse me just a minute. Let's see if we can get some extra light. Ooh, I don't know if that's helpful or if that creates too much glare. But here's my basic white thick, because this is going to be my card base. I did score it ahead of time. And we're going to want a nice crisp fold in that, always with a fun fold. It helps to have your folds nice and crisp. I have a layer of Pool Party. This is 5.5 inches wide by 2 1/4 high. And I chose 2 1/4 just because my snow globes fit nicely in a layer that size. So those are going to end up going something like that. I did emboss this with a snowflake embossing folder. Now the folder, see with that light, let's see, oh, we can. The folder that I used is a retired snowflake folder, but we do currently have a snowflake embossing folder available in the catalog. So hopefully you're good with that. No harm, no foul. And then I have a couple other pieces of just the regular basic white. This one is 1 1/4 by 5, and this is 3 1/4 by 4. So that's the paper that you need, and then a scrap of white to stamp on. So for my stamping, I'm going to use Memento Black to stamp a snowman. And the Memento is one of the linen fabric pads, so I like to give it a little twist. Stamp our snowman here, and this is going to get die cut, so I'm coming near the edge of the paper just to conserve some paper. And I'm bringing in a pumpkin pie marker to just color his little carrot nose. And then I'm also going to stamp with real red the little house. And this is one of our foam pads. The colors are foam, so you just tap, tap. Don't twist on the foam pad. You'll end up with more ink than you need. So there is my little house. And I would die cut these and get these figures, which we'll use in just a moment. And then on my actual card base, on the front of the card, I'm going to use a Pool Party ink pad because I've got Pool Party paper here. And I'm going to stamp some snowflakes. So there were, other than those little dots, there were 3 other snowflake stamps. So I'm starting with the biggest one, and I'm just randomly stamping on like the top third of the cardstock. The layer, this is going to be the card front, remember. So I'm going to do the big ones first, and then come in with the medium size, which is quite a bit smaller than the biggest one. And the Pool Party ink is very light, so I don't know how well this is showing up on camera. But this is just going to be kind of some background stamping. We're filling in what would otherwise be empty space. And the snowflakes will tie in with the snowflake embossing that we had done, or that I had done. Okay, I think that's plenty. So got 3 size snowflakes. Some of them I took off the edge of the paper. And then down at the very bottom, I'm bringing in Coastal Cabana ink. And I'm going to stamp Let It Snow. And I'm just going to come close to the bottom. I'm leaving about what is that, 1/2 inch to the right. Got more empty space to the left. All right, now my pool party layer is going to come, ooh, this is, one moment, that should match up. So something is cut wrong. Let's see. Let's measure here. This should be 5.5. Oh, this is 5 3/4. This is 2. Okay. So this, I cut this the wrong size. This is 5 3/4. So we can make it work. I'm going to attach it here just above my Let It Snow, so some of my snowflakes show up at the top. Because I've already embossed this with an embossing folder, I'm not going to try to cut it with our paper cutter, because that would tend, where you've got all that dimension, those different heights, the blade tends to snag when you do that. So if you've got the guillotine style paper cutter, you could use that. Or I'm just going to cut it with my paper snips. So I'm not coming all the way over, because I know that I'm going to trim some of that off. Whenever I have an embossed layer, I add an extra bit of glue. Normally I don't put glue in the center. This liquid glue holds really well. And so I feel like it's not needed, except when I have an embossed layer, because I want to make sure that the glue makes contact with the layer underneath, in spite of the fact that the paper's not flat on the back. So we've got that there, and then I'll just use my snips to snip off this piece that I cut too big. Okay, so my shoot. Wanted to put some more snowflakes on the inside because it's going to be a fun fold. And I should have done that before I attached this, because now my paper is not flat. But we're going to see how this works. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the front of the card, on the top half of the inside. So again, starting with the largest snowflakes and kind of just randomly scattering them and twisting the actual stamp so it's not always going the same direction. And this time you can come a little lower, because a lot of this half will show. Not all of it, as you will see in a moment, but let's get some more snowflakes in here. That's the medium size, and here's the small one. By starting with the biggest one, you can kind of put them where you want and then fill in the bigger gaps with the smallest one. Okay, that'll work. What the heck? I was going to say some of this will be covered, and it will. All right. Now, I'm thinking, what do I want to show you next? Okay, before I add anything else to the front, let me show you how we're going to do the pop-up component. Okay, so I'm going to set this and my stamped pieces and my snow globes aside for a moment and bring back in these two pieces that I had showed you at the beginning. Remember, this one is 1 1/4 by 5. Start with that one. And I'm going to use the Simply Scored board. You can use your paper trimmer to do scoring. But when I'm doing a fun fold or anything where I want the scores to be really accurate, I like to use the scoreboard because it's just eliminates the user error. And I'm going to score this on the even inches. So at 1 inch, at 2 inches, at 3 inches, and at 4. Okay, so we've got that. And then I'll just fold all of those like so, all in the same direction. And this is going to make a square. These two pieces will get glued together. I do want to go ahead and use my bone folder and crisp up those edges, so I'm going to do that in just a moment. Let me bring in my other piece of white cardstock. This one is, sorry, I'm thinking, 3 1/4 by 4. I want the 4 inch, let me think about this for a second. The 4 inch piece at the top. I have to think about how I'm going to cut this. Sorry, give me 1 second. 4 inch. All right, we're going to try this. If I have to cut another piece of paper because I messed it up, so be it. Okay. 3 1/4 by 4. We're going to score again on the even inches. So there are little ridges here. If you can see them, there are ridges across here. So I'm just going to put my stylus at the ridge right by the 1 inch and pull it straight down. 2 and 3. Yep, that's going to work. I did it correctly. Love it when that happens. Okay, now same thing here. We're just going to fold on the score lines. And we want to burnish those fold lines or those creases. Burnish means, someone asked me once, what does burnish mean? I said, that just means you crease them really well. Okay, so we've got that one. This will also make a square, but without that overlapping piece. We'll burnish these. And this one does have the overlapping piece. Okay. And because I've told you that these are going to overlap and get glued, let's just go ahead and do it. So glue near the edges, and because it's a fun fold, I'll put some in the middle. Fun folds tend to get used, opened and closed, and you know, people like to play. So I do use a little extra glue when I do a fun fold as well, just to give it some extra hold. Okay, so there you see that makes a nice square. I'm going to set that aside for a moment. Now this one, I didn't have any overlap, so I don't have anything to glue yet. Before I do any gluing of this, I want to stamp a sentiment on here using my Coastal Cabana ink because that's the darker blue. So I've got the paper so that it's folding downward. Does that make sense? Folding this way, squashing it out. And on the second from the bottom strip, I'm going to stamp Season's Greetings to the far right. Excuse my head if it gets in the view. I need to see where I'm going to try and center it. Oop, I need a little more ink. To the far right in that 1-inch section. Okay. Okay, now we're ready to assemble. So I'm bring back in my card base. So this bottom section is going to get glue. And remember I said I like to do the perimeter, and because it's a fun fold, I'm going to put a little extra in the middle. And now I'm just going to fold it in half, just so I have something to hold. And I'm pulling the card front up a little bit. And what's going to happen is I'm going to butt this edge up to the crease. Now I found if I leave it open, sometimes I go too far into the crease and then it doesn't want to close, it doesn't want to fold easily. So by pulling this upward, I can tell how far to butt it up. And I'm going to kind of try to center it left and right, and then give it a good press. Okay, so there it is. This is the last section. I've got white on white. That's hard to see, I'm sorry. But this is the last section of the 4. I'm going to put glue on that. You remember we didn't create a flat to attach these together, so the first and the last sections are the ones that are going to get the glue. Again, I'm going to fold it flat. I've got glue right here on this last section. I'm just going to fold the card closed and press. So that glue is going to stick to the other side of the card front. And then when you open it, it pops up. Let me show you this way. Okay. And there's my sentiment. Okay. So why do I want the sentiment there? Well, because this snowman, I meant to give him a hat, and I didn't. He's going to stick right here. So I only want glue on the back of the snowman as far as will attach to this 1-inch strip. So I can see, I need it to go about that far. So the bottom circle of my snowman is safe to put glue on. So we'll do that. And again, more glue than I usually would just because it's a fun fold. And it's going to be hard to glue it like this. You want something to press on. But the card will open flat. So I can do that. And then put my snowman right there. Give him a good press. This is why we wanted to move the sentiment all the way to the right. If you were making one of these, you could have made this paper longer than 3 1/4. But I had done it ahead of time and knew that that was the size that would work. And then again, I don't know the best way to hold it. When we're done, I'll turn the camera back up and then show you. Okay, now what about this little house and this little square? Well, I thought it would be fun to not just have the snowman, but to give him a little scenery. So I'm going to put some glue on this section here. And this is the one, my seam is right there. I'm going to try to hide the seam. On the back of the card. So I've got glue right there, and I'm going to stick this, and I am going to pull it up this time to get it in position. This is going to stack right on top. kind of get it in position where I want it to be. And then I can carefully flatten it back out and press it. You don't want it to shift around. Okay. So it's stuck to the bottom, and now some glue on this section so it also sticks to the back of the card. Otherwise it just flops like this. We want it to also stick to this part. So some glue there. Remember, extra glue because it's a fun fold. Don't go too thick though. You don't want it to squish out, right? And then we can flatten that. I feel like this may be confusing watching the video. If you give it a try, it starts to make more sense. Okay, now I've got two squares. Do you see them? So I've got my snowman on the bottom layer, and then I'm going to put my house on this one. I just dropped the lid to my glue. Let me make sure. Okay, look, my roof line, can you see? My roof line sticks up over my 1-inch space, so be attentive to that. Don't put glue there or you'll glue your card closed. So I'm just bringing my finger and pinching where I need the glue to stop. So I know I can go that far. And I'll stick that right there. Again, you can flatten it, totally flatten it to give it a good press. Okay. I am not adding anything down here because this is where I could sign or write my note. I've got my greeting here. You could stamp more here if you care to, but I'm good with this. Now let's finish the front. Okay. So we had this, and now let me put the lid on my glue. I'm dropping things on the floor all over the place. Yes, Emily, you got to be attentive to that, especially with a fun fold, right? Because you don't want to mess up this great thing. Hi, Donna. Better late than never. We're doing a fun fold tonight. Oh, I know what else I was going to... Okay, hang on. I'm backtracking. Remember that I showed you this extra little tree that can be die cut? If you wanted to, you could put that back here. Let's do it for a little more of a scene. Why not? I've got it out, so let's just make use of it. I'm going to put this actually all the way on the very back. It's not going on one of the little cubes or squares that we created. So it gives even more depth to our pop-up scene. So there's that. Okay, now the card front. I already told you I'm using these snow globes that I fussy cut. I put dimensionals on the backs of a couple of them. And I started to do this one as well. And then I thought of this other trick that I wanted to show you. Okay, here's a new sheet of dimensionals. I heard about this trick somewhere where you use some packing tape. Let's give it a try. And I'm just gonna, got a small piece of packing tape here. I probably should have made it a little bit longer. And I'm gonna fold over just a tiny bit on the end to give myself a little tab to hold on to. Okay. This definitely should have been longer. But the suggestion was if you stick this on your dimensionals, and I think that their idea suggested you know, do cover the whole thing. But here's my tab. So they said that when you pull this up, it does, look. The back of your dimensionals, well, they're not all sticking, but okay, so some of them just the paper backing came and some of them the whole thing came. But if you then, all right, well that doesn't work. There you go. Pull that, okay, I got two. All right, so here's my two dimensionals that I want to put on my snow globe. Like that. But the suggestion was then you don't have all these paper backings from your dimensionals because these now are sticky. The backs of those are stuck here. So I could pull this off and use this dimensional. The backing's already off of it. And then all these little pieces, when I'm done, I just throw this piece in the trash with all the backs stuck to that instead of floating all around on my floor. So that's just a little tip I thought I would try and see how it worked. So a little bit of success there. We'll try it again in the future and see if I can kind of perfect that. But here's my, so I had two, I purposely selected two arch-topped or the taller snow globes and one of the rounder ones. So the round one is going to go in the middle. And I chose those shapes because I knew that that fit well. But I have a feeling that the it might work with two circles and one tall. I just didn't test that. Oh, it would for sure because I've got plenty of space. So then I'm just evenly spacing my other snow globes. Now you see why I made it say let it snow on the front. I added the snowflakes at the stamps at the top and the embossed layer. And look, now I got all these little things that are going to be all over my floor when I miss the trash can with them. So I would love to make that packing tape trick work. So we got that there. We're almost done. Just a couple of embellishments. I was looking for something that was kind of bluish to go with the blue. And when I was in my embellishment drawer, I found these, which were from last year. Sorry, moving the pack away from the microphone because it's noisy crinkle. But these are gold, copper, and white snowflakes in two different sizes. The large ones are all the same shape. The smaller ones are different shapes. A couple different shapes. And I thought these would be fun on here. So let's pull. And we'll go a snowflake here. And one on this side. So I'm not overdoing with the embellishments. I just thought one on either side of that sentiment looked nice. And there's my card, the front and the inside. Oh, and I'm too high again, sorry. Okay, that is my project for tonight. Let me turn the camera up and show you it that way. So I feel like sometimes that orientation works better. So I'm going to give a spin and try to tip you back up. Sorry for the super close up. I think I almost like this setup better than what I had before, but it's going to take me again some getting used to, figure out where we're at. Thanks, Emily. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so here's the front. And after I got it, in all honesty, as soon as I glued it down tonight in front of you, I thought, shoot, I wanted to put just a little tiny bit of Coastal Cabana layer to kind of frame out that pool party layer, but I feel like it works. So we've got, there's our front, and you open it, and here's our inside. I think it's super fun. And there are, remember, we do have some snowflakes there. I don't know if those show up, but they're there. And from the side view, this is what we've got from the side. So it's really not difficult to create, but I think it gives a fun, lives up to the name Fun Fold, and then totally folds completely flat for mailing. So that's what I have for you tonight with the Snowy Wonder bundle and the cool paper from the, what was it called again? Snowy Scenes Designer Series paper. Again, those can be found in the mini catalog. So thanks, Angie and Janine. I appreciate it. Emily. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I really kind of like it too. All right, that's what I have for you tonight. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with me. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope to see some of you Friday night at Kit Night. And if not, then back here next Monday for another Make It Monday Live. Have a great week.